Stage 3 of a regional development program concludes.
Khoma's Regional Commander Joseph Shikongo was quarantined about a month ago after apprehending a man that tested positive for COVID-19. The man in question entered Namibia illegally using the rivers by the borders and came to Windhoek. Khoma's Regional Commander Joseph Shikongo said that they caught the man at 77 Independence Avenue apartments. The man's passport did not have a stamp indicating that he entered from the border post.
Got that particular individual whom we found at a flat, an apartment around Windhoek. That apartment is just opposite the seat of Windhoek. It's called 77 Independence Avenue. It's an apartment. That person booked an apartment for some couple of days. And luckily, before it was too late, we were able to get that person. We engaged the person. We managed to get his documentation, the passport. And then we realized that he had a passport which was not stamped at all. So no, it was not stamped. That's a clear indication that for you to come through Namibia, you must go through the immigration. So his passport was not stamped by immigration. So he confirmed to us that yes, I went through the river, and I was assisted by some people to cross the river, and they ended up in Windhoek.
Shikongo added that the man resisted being tested for COVID-19 while he came from a high-risk country. The police officers had to arrest the individual to give the health ministry personnel an opportunity to do the test.
We have to call the Minister of Health and Social Services to come and test and check you. And this person decided, no, I'm not going to be swabbed, because that thing is painful. Whether he has been tested already or not, he was claiming it's too painful. Therefore, we will not go through it. So by then we already conducted the Minister of Health and Social Services. The doctor, the swabbing team arrived, and then we handed him to the team. And actually, it was very clear to the doctor that I was not going to be tested. Unless the police will just kill me, I will not be tested. So as a result of that, we managed, at least with the doctors, we managed to convince him slightly, although he had still a problem to be tested. And the particular time he became violent. The time of becoming violent, we actually, as a law enforcement, we had to handcuff him. It's not a question this person was forced to be swabbed, but I think for the interest and for the safety, so the doctor have to do their work.
According to Shikongo, there were 24 people quarantined at the Robert Mugabe clinic, of which 16 were police officers, and he noticed in the second week that many people were very stressed.
We were told to report ourselves at Robert Mugabe, all of us. We went in there, and we were swabbed, and immediately we were told to go to mandatory quarantine. That's how we ended up, all of us, 8 of us, by then. But then there were some other officers that went to search, that actually were mostly busy with searching, and that went with him to airport, that went to place him at the isolation place at the airport. We were also told to go and swabbed. So the swabbing was done. As a result of that, about 16 police officers ended up in a quarantine. So we ended up in a quarantine for more than days that we were supposed to be there. As for now, my colleague, about 20 people that were quarantined with us, because total we ended up, we were 24. Because we had the police officers, and then we had some other people that were like 2 ladies from Checkers. There was one lady from Namibia Brewell. There was one doctor from the Ministry of Health and Social Services. And there were other 3 people that get into contact with this person at Namibia Brewell. He went to eat, then he invited them probably for lunch, and they start mingling, buying them some drinks. And as a result, these people were now identified as contact to him. So the number went to 24. And we kept on waiting. The first week was fine. The second week became so tough in terms of anxiety, fatigue, and stress. It started with some people. Actually, some people even they developed some stresses, blood level went up. And I can recall vividly that one of our officers even ended up saying, no, I'm no longer going even to take food. This is going too far. We have been here now, we have got families, we have things to do outside there, but we keep encouraging him.
Shikongo is happy to announce that all 24 patients, including himself, were released back into society and tested negative for COVID-19.
My father worked hard, and he made sure I did too. Because of him, I studied every day, and I did well. He helped me start my first business. It's only now I understand. My father always had big dreams for me. And now, my dreams are the same as my father's.
In 100 years, we've learned that times change, but what matters never will.
With the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Namibia skyrocketing, some parents are skeptical about sending their children to school. Some parents refuse to send their kids to school, and that's fine, says Public Relations Officer at the Education Ministry, Absalom. Any parent who feels a particular school does not meet the COVID-19 guidelines has the right not to send their child to school, provided they communicate with the teachers and give clear reasons for their refusal.
Parents have various options available to them if they are not quite comfortable with conditions that schools have put in place for their learners. One of the items that we have as a ministry and are busy currently working on the guidelines is the homeschooling concept. The Education Act advocates for homeschooling. As we currently speak now, we are busy drafting those guidelines, and we'll definitely share them with parents to ensure that they continue. Another item, perhaps not to be sort of mistaken with homeschooling, is the option where the parent opts to keep the child at home, but obviously to continue receiving educational packages whilst the situation perhaps see how these unfold.
There is a compliance checklist that all schools in the country should meet, and failure to meet these requirements will result in schools not operating, says Absalom.
It's items ranging from sanitation, from ablution, as well as the social distancing aspect, as well as now the environment itself. It needs to be high, it needs to be clean, there needs to be running water, just the basics. Also the provision of masks as well for all the learners, as well as also the visitors. Schools aren't allowed to have visitors during this period, sort of as a way to also minimize then the movement of people as well. So these are just some of the essential sort of requirements that the ministry has put in place, and we are confident that schools have put this in place, and only minor challenges have been experienced which can be sort of attributed to infrastructural issues which can't quite be completed just overnight.
The rate at which COVID-19 cases are rising is of great concern to the Education Ministry, says Absalom, as it is of utmost importance that learners return to school. He, however, added that the ministry has several interventions in place to ensure learners get access to education.
The Namibia Transport and Taxi Union NTTU President Werner January is calling for better working conditions for his members. January also called for the industry to resume full loading capacity of clients, as according to him, it is unfair that public gathering restrictions were lifted and loading restrictions were not discussed. The NTTU president said that efforts to attempt for public transport drivers to receive a basic salary from their employers have been proposed in the new regulations submitted to the relevant authorities.
Why we are trying to show the taxi owners leadership and to be innovative? It is because when the new regulations are coming, we as a trade union representing the employees in the industry, we are not going to play with them. We are going to stick to our ground. These grounds, the proposals they have already received a few years ago. We are introducing a basic salary for the industry, where we are saying that sedan taxi drivers will get a basic salary of 4,400 to 6,600, and the minibus from 7,000, 9,000. The others will get between 16 or 10,000 and 16, and the big buses from 18,000 to 24,000. And we are not going to compromise. In addition to that one, there are other benefits that we are not going to move away from, like pension, social security, medical aid, life cover, death cover, all these things. We are not going to compromise on that one. We are only tiptoeing and dancing around because the industry is not properly regulated. But especially the owners, they must be ready. There's this thing in law also that is called vicarious liability, whereby we are saying, with the new regulations, we are going to find that no single taxi driver is going to receive a traffic fine here. All those fines must go to the owners, because the owners have the responsibility to make sure their drivers are trained. They have the responsibility to make sure that they are employing somebody with a clean record that does not misbehave or that is used to this ill-disciplined. And they must put up proper contracts of employment, clearly stipulating what they expect from their employees or from their drivers to do. In the absence of that one, they are going to receive these fines, irrespective whether it's the driver's fault or whether it's a fault on the car. They are going to receive those fines, and we are pushing very hard.
Following the announcement by the head of state Hage Geingob to lift restrictions on public gatherings from 50 to 250 people, the NTTU president expressed his disappointment on the announcement, as according to him the industry is being neglected, urging his members to resume full loading capacity provided that they apply to the regulations of sanitizing and wearing face masks.
Our loading capacity that has been kept to 3 people, while the public gatherings has been increased from 50, I think, to 250. And that only gives it a logical reason, that gives it a logical, not reason, but it is logical sense, that then our loading capacity should also be increased. And I am hereby giving government 72 hours to make a decision. Otherwise, by close of business Thursday, I am already instructing, commanding my members, 5 o'clock Thursday, they must already start to have a full load. They must load their taxis full to capacity. And this is not a joke, this is not an idle threat. If government does not come back to us within 72 hours, our members must start loading to full capacity.
Additionally, he noted that he expects to receive funds owed to him by his members after the new taxi regulations are in place.
We always love to hear from you. Send us your views, comments, and videos with your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081-200-6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
The Commerce Regional Office has, in partnership with Namso Fishing Enterprise Community Trust, to date since 2014 committed $1.2 million Namibia to assist micro businesses in the region. Aimed at supporting and building capacity for social and economic development in the region, the development program partnership between the Commerce Governor and NAMSOP Fishing Enterprise Community Trust has assisted small income generating projects in 3 phases to the value of 2 million.
We are no more going to go the route of individual projects, because sometimes individual projects do not really have got impact. But we are going to look at bigger projects like schools, clinics, anything else that have got impact. At the end of the day, for you to say, I did not help 3-4 people, but in actual fact, my help went out to 1,000 of school children, 1,000 of Namibians, and that impact will be felt.
Small income generating projects like leather work, jewelry making, woodwork, food catering, panel beating and shoe repair were among some of the micro businesses in the 3rd stage of the development program to benefit from a donation of equipment worth 700,000. On receiving the donation, one of the benefiting projects, the Lidar Community Foundation, urged other projects to put the donations to good use in bettering their businesses.
We are in partnership with many other programs like Project Hope Namibia. We have partnered with Gondwana Collections, the Lodges, Pick and Pay, and many other employment partners to give employment to women who, in the absence of Lidar Foundation, would not have the opportunity to do so. So as I'm seeing here this afternoon, there are a lot of beneficiaries who received their donations. We can network and partner up because our aim is really just to empower women. So for example, when the governor is saying that you are making these beautiful shoes and recycled products from tires, we can also teach our own women to do that.
The Commerce Governor further noted that community projects are assisted based on evident priorities, reflected merits, and the economic output of the projects in terms of job creation and benefit to the surrounding community.
You're saying things that degrade women. For me, number one, I am not there because that is basically what I don't believe in. I don't stand for things that degrade women.
What do you think we can add? What can we put in the basket? First of all, let's put Blossom back in the basket.
Look at the person like, man, let's do a song.
Let's do something.
Just
let's
like
collaborate.
Let's collaborate.
The Africans were claiming us.
Yes, exactly. To the rest of the world, they belong to us. Namibia, Baba, Namibia.
I'll help you carry on.
Creating music and putting some stuff out for the people who've been supporting me, that's definitely something that's next on my list.
In other leading stories, between April and May, the Namibia Blood Transfusion Service experienced critical shortages of blood during the first phase of the lockdown due to the cancellation of numerous blood donation clinics. To support NAM-BTS, Bank Windhoek hosted 2 blood donation clinics in Windhoek with 42 staff members, potentially saving 126 lives in the country's hospitals. NAM-BTS requires over 150 blood donations per weekday to meet the country's demand from hospitals and medical centers. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, numerous patients require blood transfusions. These patients include mothers who bleed excessively during childbirth, anemic patients, those with bleeding disorders, and patients who have undergone various surgeries. The next blood donation clinic at Bank Windhoek's Property Finance and its main branch will take place on Wednesday the 8th of July and Thursday the 9th of July in Windhoek. Those interested in becoming a blood donor should be older than 16 years, weigh more than 50 kilograms, lead a sexually safe lifestyle, and enjoy generally good health. For more information, contact NAM-BTS at 061 386 300.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. The former Minister of Fisheries Bernard Asau and his son-in-law Temson Hatukulipi appeared in the Windhoek Magistrates Court to appeal for bail after spending more than 7 months in prison for his alleged involvement in the #Fishroad scandal, where the two suspects are accused of committing several charges of corruption, fraud and money laundering. According to Asau, his incarceration has left his workers, including his family, under stressful economic conditions. Brendan is shocked at the former minister's hopes of getting released from jail after thousands of innocent men and women lost jobs. Monica described Asau as a selfish individual who spent $14,000 on prostitution at one point. Jolie said the suspect should still get bail as everyone has their shortcomings. Lawrence said the minister was living the high life while families lost income as a result of his alleged corrupt practices. While Delilah said that they are still human beings and should be forgiven. The Namibia Transport and Taxi Union President Werner January expressed his disappointment against the government as, according to him, they have failed to take action against illegal drivers transporting passengers to and from Erongo region. Rosario said the citizens always expect the government to tell them what to do instead of taking responsibility for their own health and well-being. Eliasser said this is the first time that the union leader has said something that is good for the nation. Christophelius said as the president of the union, he should stop complaining and actually do something. Alice said January is doing his job without fear and should keep it up. Jumantu said that he should leave the 7-seater operators alone as that is their only means of income. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
Share with us on #LearnOn1. Tell us what you're learning and where you're learning it from. Send us your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081-200-6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of 700 Club Nigeria. Today on 700 Club Nigeria, a woman encounters inexplicable pain after the delivery of her baby. An interesting chat with the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria. Plus, we learn about the power within our spoken word.
My portion in the land of the living, help me sing. As for me, and my house, we will serve.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Cold conditions are expected in the west on Thursday, becoming very cold with frost at places over the southern, central and eastern regions on Friday and over the weekend. Showers and thunder showers are expected over the southern coastal areas and the Karas region on Friday. Please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior, fine and mild to warm but hot in the far north. A fresh to strong wind is expected in the interior. The coast, partly cloudy and mild to warm with fog patches at places, and the wind moderate northwesterly to southwesterly.
Kangula kanana eke na matinino itakofota lembe navaka vesinge neno tasivange navaka musinge neno tansivange ndoko shitaisiera ndoko mutiane menandi hupinda kangwali yandi tenekwa ndoko ushiro wokongo ndoko kambali nonane ndoke kokrana mitira ndi tenekwa nange dakaduruma nandefia kotea nandi ndate kwangira ndi tenekwa ndoko uchoane pando kunembu tiketi tinoruka kumono tinoko nyono wangira ndi tenekwa karingoti kanlevekeni ohanangala mangwa onu menu wako vapandekwa ongenda poka umbokea jova pofi undapita poka tungwa keno vapa madari undafia tabeli pula nokuta pamoye kalingoti kanlevegeni hanosikia tutalelwa okunongo mokanya okunwa momayo onkulu akangwala yondenge ayambeko hanosikia tutalelwa otaba pangiro mangela shashovala kutala koshitaisiera ndoko mutiane menandi hupinda kangwali yandi tenekwa ndokushiro wokongo ndoko kambali nonane ndoke kokrana miti yandi tenekwa nange dakaduruma nandefia kotea nandi ndate kwangi yandi tenekwa ndokuchoane pando kunenguru diketi tinoruka kumono tinongonyomo wangi yandi tenekwa onda pangiro mangela ndito uluko mafuta nditata eponjala ndongu ziteitipo ndoko shuarongo mbiti ndaketo shirongo mbado shisivesala kane sififini onjuo ndikulo mbwelelo tete fikunda ondoka beza fikunda ameka mbabanduka kokushimba leha ndutu na wandijo ntumba morole ndilo fika meka mbaba hashipala shomonya hakutondoka no nyanya ngela changalingali ndoka ndoka shomea ndoko shitaisiera ndoko mutiane menandi hupinda kangwali yandi tenekwa ndokushiro wokongo ndoko kambali nonane ndoke kokrana miti yandi tenekwa nange dakaduruma nandefia kotea nandi ndate kwangi yandi tenekwa ndokuchoane pando kunembu tiketi tinoruka kumono tinogonyomo wangi yandi tenekwa ondino madina hapuna ndefero lishona neno tambikine haikaloko ni mototema yandamwa mongulo tostambwa amambe pumungula neikanda nasea amame ngopala neitana mingana limwambe tengana ngobe limwambe.
Now on BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories focus on Africa.
Hello, I'm Peter Okwacha. Welcome to Focus on Africa. Our top stories. A grim milestone in Africa's fight against coronavirus. We're on the cusp of 500,000 confirmed cases across the continent. Is it a fight we're winning, or are low testing numbers hiding the true extent of the outbreak? We'll have a reality check on that. As infections rise and restrictions ease, we'll look at how coronavirus is currently impacting tourism in Kenya and education in Uganda. Also on the program, who owns history? We join the BBC's Clive Myrie as he traces his past and that of his ancestors in Bristol, the British city where last month a statue of slave trader Edward Colston was torn down by Black Lives Matter protesters angry at its colonial past.